Welcome back to Burn the Ship, where we connect entrepreneurs, professionals to help you go all in on your business. I'm your host, Ezra Brown, and without further ado, I'm going to allow my guest to introduce himself.
Yeah, hi, my name is Brian Woldt. I'm with Lines CPA. I'm a new CPA firm that started in August of 2024.
That's awesome. So, Brian, tell me just a little bit about you in the background, and then we'll kind of get into how you got into Tightline.
Well, a little background. I'm originally from South Dakota, currently live in Denver, Colorado. Um, Started off in the accounting world about 19 years ago. Just kind of worked with small firms. I was a controller of like a large dairy operation, about $100 million company. Um, and then just along the lines, I've kind of always run the front end of one of my friends who's been a client for about 16 years. I've kind of ran the front end of his real estate development company. And he was out of Colorado. And so that's at the end of the day, that's what brought me out to Colorado. And so for the past 9 years since I moved here, I've been heavily focused in the um, real estate, rental properties, rental real estate development, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I'm versed in most industries within, just as a public accountant,
Right.
I'm involved with many industries, but real estate's kind of been a heavy focus of mine.
Absolutely. So that's your niche. So, with that being said, how long have you been in Colorado?
9 years.
Oh, you've been there a while. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
No.
awesome. What kind of made you want to shift and jump off and kind of do your own thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, just with some of the companies I've been working with in Colorado, it just seemed like it was kind of more of like a burn and turn involved, just preparing tax returns, entering data into a computer system and just giving results to clients and
Right.
saying kind of, okay, here's how much you owe, or here's how much you're getting as a refund. I kind of want to slow it all down and start giving a little more advice. I mentioned that I was a controller of a large dairy operation, and a lot of the things involved with that is looking in depth at financial statements and being able to give recommendations to the owners on, how we could minimize our tax liability and just a sort of tax planning strategy rather than reporting numbers and being just kind of the middleman.
Right. What can we buy? What can we spend to kind of relieve some of this stress the government's putting on us, huh?
Exactly.
I got you.
Exactly.
I got you. That's awesome. And then when you were the controller, besides being in that dairy operation, were you guys dealing with a lot of small business, or was it always bigger corporations that were doing multiple millions of dollars a year?
Oh no, so basically, yeah, my entire client list is kind of, I'd say it's anywhere generally from like 20 million down to, you know, to the mom and pop shop,
Okay. Okay.
where clients are potentially, you're maybe giving them advice that maybe we shouldn't put this on this tax return this year because, you're showing losses 3 out of the past 5 years and they might think you're a hobby,
Okay.
that kind of deal. So
Okay.
I go from all the way big, all the way down.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then obviously one of your buddies kind of got you into the real estate side of things. How
Hmm.
much is that niche a little different than most of your small business niche? Because real estate's one of its own, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, real estate, it kind of presents an opportunity to create losses, create paper losses. You've got interest, um, the property taxes, um, insurance, then the depreciation of the building, so you can create losses that, because real estate is passive by nature.
Right.
The IRS considers it passive income.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're not always able to deduct that. And, you can kind of give guidance on, ways that a potential client could make that
Mm-hmm.
active income.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then there are also, if you're to sell a property, you also have the potential to defer the income on that sale by doing something called like a 1031 exchange.
Okay.
And so that just you're kind of kicking the can down the road, deferring taxes, but it does definitely allows you to reinvest money into your business.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. And then with you, how tell me a little bit about your firm and kind of what makes you guys different than the next CPA.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to slow the process down. I mean, and I'm maybe it's not even a differentiation with just as a CPA, but with the companies that I've been working with here in Colorado, it's just been a fast-paced move, just burn and turn. That's kind of what I say.
Yeah.
And I just want to bring more quality and more potential planning to the ball game.
Okay.
And one of the things like that makes me a little bit different than maybe some other CPAs is that I was a controller. I know I've worked on audits. And so I know financial statements in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also happen to know the tax code. And so I can kind of, I can play both sides,
Right. Right. No, that makes sense. It's definitely very I guess you would say you got a lot of blades on the in the knife.
Yeah, well, I'm trying. You
Swiss
just got
Army
to
knife. That's the
start,
term I was looking for. So with it being in business, because you've been in business about a year and a half now,
Yes.
what's kind of been some of the struggles that you've seen in growing your business?
Well, one of the things I really didn't think about too much was my accounts receivable.
Okay.
Um,
Explain a little
just
bit. Explain a little bit.
managing accounts receivable, having a good policy in place where, hey, maybe I won't file their tax return until I receive either, a deposit or the full payment.
Okay.
I'm a South Dakota boy, kind of, we trust a lot of people. I move into the big world and I'm, I'm kind of finding my way around.
Right. Right. Right.
And
No,
so it's just, you kind of get thrown into, and it's just like one of the things is, dealing with something like accounts receivable, something like that. It just, when you have your own business, it brings you into, you know, it kind of drives your own psyche. It drives your own emotions, and it's hard to keep that out of it and
a-
that sort of thing.
absolutely. So with the accounts receivable, it's really just kind of, I guess you say, for layman's terms, saying just making sure you get paid before you make any steps for somebody.
Exactly. Yeah. You might want to consider getting a deposit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, I'm estimating it's going to cost about $1,000 to prepare your tax return. Maybe I should receive 500 up front.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Something like
It ain't like it's not like it's just easy work you're doing over here.
that.
It's tedious for sure.
It's grinding.
If you're dealing with the government's tax code, it's definitely a little tedious. Make sure that you do all the intricate things, and you're dealing with somebody's baby. It's their business. It's their baby. So and you know that owning your own business now, it's a headache. So tell me a little bit about your ideal client. What do you see as the ideal client for you guys?
Well, the ideal client is going to be somebody that essentially is going to, look for some help potentially with their bookkeeping so I'm able to give them advice on a monthly or quarterly basis.
Okay.
I just want to stay in close contact with these clients just so we're always on the same page. And it's not like, hey, you mentioned this back in April and it's now September. Um, we got to bridge that gap. And
Right.
so I'm looking to work, closely with companies and kind of do a little hand holding, a little guiding, that sort of thing.
No, absolutely. And you would say you guys are kind of like a boutique for the CPA world?
I would say, yeah. I mean, I think I'm trying to be kind of like a boutique firm. I mean, I just got a client yesterday that, it's a lot of good work to do with their tax return, and then they're just like, hey, well, could we, you know, you mentioned doing some bookkeeping for you. How about, running our accounts payable, doing monthly reconciliations, all that sort of thing, which is kind of more of like a live bookkeeping, so everything within the books is very up to date.
Okay.
And then we're not looking back the past month or the past 2 months or something like that, but
Yeah,
it's live information.
absolutely. So you guys kind of do you kind of do the whole umbrella of what a CPA can do. So you guys are doing the bookkeeping, the accounting, and you guys are also doing the taxes as well.
Yes. Yep. You know, just I mean, within my industry, that is. So I do say that I am kind of boutique firm.
Mm-hmm.
And so within that, like I mentioned earlier, I've experienced doing audits, preparing financial statements for clients, compilation review, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're doing those sort of things, there's also risk, like you're starting to put your name on the line.
Mm-hmm.
If something is incorrect within those financial statements and you didn't catch it, then you're on the hook. And so I've kind of teetered back and forth on where I want to be, within that. There's other CPA firms here in Colorado that they don't do any compilation, any assurance, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't exactly know where I was kind of thinking more along the bookkeeping, tax prep, that kind of thing.
Right.
But there's a lot of demand right now for audit work and review work, that I'm kind of getting pushed in that direction, and so I accepted an audit recently, and I'm going to do one of those. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. And then tell me a little bit about the stuff you guys do really well. Like what's been kind of that driving factor for your business over the last year and a half? Because everybody's got some stuff they do well. People got stuff they don't do so well. We've already heard that. So give me some of the stuff you guys do well.
Well, I'd say that I answer phone calls and I return client messages well, or I respond to clients. I guess luckily I'm still kind of new enough, but everything I hear from every other client is that nobody is talking to me, nobody will return my phone calls, that sort of thing. I mean, communication's kind of the number one thing almost within anything. And if you're not there to answer the call, I mean, they'll start talking about you, and you just gotta kind of gotta watch your reputation.
Absolutely,
So I mean,
that's a fact.
constant contact with clients, and just just kind of within my industry, just knowing knowing my way around, a lot of various scenarios, just because I have 19 years experience. I
Right.
mean, I'd say that's something I do very well.
Absolutely. And tell me a little bit about this because I find it interesting going from South Dakota to Colorado. Tell me some of I guess, what it was like growing your business, being in a new area where it's mainly not your network, versus being somewhere where you're network and you're tight knit into that community or into that environment. Tell me a little bit about growing that business there because you jumped off the ledge and went for it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I moved into my office here. Yeah, well, that was one of the things, you come off of COVID, that sort of thing. People start working from home. I don't want to leave home now. And then all of a sudden you just kind of get in a funk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because, you're not interacting with humans. It's just kind of, you're stuck in I think it brings people down a little bit.
I completely agree. People do
When
disagree
I,
with that, but I completely agree with what you're saying.
and so like, yeah, I got out, started my new business, you know, started this thing where I paid $400 a month just for some sort of membership. And, it just kind of allowed you to roam freely in this co-working space, that kind of thing.
Uh
And
huh.
then all of a sudden you start getting employees and that, and, you gotta have a space for yourselves. And, so, but just getting out into the world and that sort of thing, it's just amazing how much it kind of can change your emotions,
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
interacting with people, and just meeting all sorts of various people, in various industries. And that's kind of, I mean, it just really kind of broke me out of my shell,
Yeah,
getting back out into humanity a little bit.
absolutely. So you doing some networking locally for your business, everything like that.
Yeah,
Tell me a little
yeah. I
bit. Tell
mean,
me a little
well,
bit about
yeah, kind
how
of
you're
got
growing
away
it.
from the question. Sorry about that.
No, tell me a little bit about how you're growing the business.
So yeah, I mean, it's because I've been kind of particular about who I want as clients, because number one, pretty much I'd like to help people with their financial statements, that sort of thing. So
Right.
not everybody, even a small business, doesn't even necessarily need those services. But yeah, so I'm just slowly go out networking. Like there's a community here in Castle Rock. It's called Dads of Castle Rock, and they have some of their own. They kind of promote each other a lot, and like some of these Facebook pages, they'll jump in. Anybody in Castle Rock, Castle Rock's a big Facebook town,
Hmm.
and so um, it's just you get in with a bunch of different guys, and all of a sudden you kind of can create a storm just reading Facebook. you know,
No, no. I mean, that's true. It's everybody's got their own way of advertising, their own way of marketing, and it's different everywhere you go. But it's the one thing stays the same is your reputation and your name. It's your words either good or it ain't. So and that's people
yes, yeah. I
and
mean,
people see that.
my I think most successful place. I mean, this is kind of funny, but the most successful place where I've brought in clients is at my hot tub.
Okay.
I live in like a condo,
Uh huh.
and so there's a big hot tub area, and I've had great luck on bringing in clients from there.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because you get them in a personable spot where it's they realize you're human and that they're like, well, wait, this dude isn't some super duper human that can just do taxes and everything.
Right?
And
Yeah.
they're like, wait, this
Yeah.
guy's regular. He have a glass of bourbon with me or smoke a cigar, sit here and hang out. So it
Exactly.
just shows you're real and authentic, and I can appreciate that most definitely because being in the payment space, we have to be the same way. We're dealing with your finances, we're dealing with your baby, so and you're giving us a lot of sensitive information. So
Yeah.
it's got to be a relationship. It can't just be hey, one call close. I gotta find out about you. See how many kids you got. See what sports you played, or
Yeah.
if you played
Exactly.
the trombone, whatever it was that makes you go. I want to know a little bit about it, so that way I can check back in on you, circle back with you, and see who you are and if you're doing good. And if your favorite football team
Absolutely.
loses, I want to be able to text you and be like, haha.
Yeah. Yeah. We're still a little hurt about the Broncos last week
Man,
or
man.
2 weeks ago.
At least you're not a Falcons fan. Remember that.
I'm by heart I'm a Vikings fan, so I mean it's
Yeah, at
it's
least
been a
yeah.
rough go.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. But no, so with your business, do you get a lot of referral based business, or is it a lot of you getting out and kind of beating the phones, beating the streets for it?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean it's just random interactions with people. And yeah, I mean that's kind of why it's just you kind of always got to be on your toes all the time because you never know who you're going to come across. I mean, let's just say it like last I don't know, last April, I met this lady in the hot tub and we just had a lot of good conversation. She's like, "Well, I might be leaving this firm, would you be willing to take on all my clients?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, I'd love to do that."
Yeah.
And I just thought it was water under the bridge. I haven't seen her since last April. But then all of a sudden she called me last week and she's like, "Hey, can you handle 10 of my businesses?" And I'm like, "Absolutely."
I've been waiting on
I
you.
mean, but it's just always being personable, just trying to always be a good person, just the most of the time you're out in society, just be
Absolutely.
receptive to people and listen to what they have to say.
No, absolutely. And that's one thing that people don't realize until they kind of get out and about is that people want to help people. They don't want to just do business with somebody else. They don't want to be sold to. That they want to be sold but not sold to.
You're right.
But they want you to be personable and be have that relationship with you. Like if it costs them the same amount, they'll go with you just because you're personable over something where they have no relationship with somebody.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Um,
we see it a ton. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I mean, it's just that's what it is. It's just about relating to people and hearing them out and responding back and staying in the game. I mean, I am not a salesman. I'm the furthest thing from a salesman. I do not like, I just freeze up and I can't do it. Maybe I could with a little work, but it's just not something I like to do.
Right.
So my best sales pitch is just being authentic and being available.
It works. It works too, doesn't it?
It does.
That
It
which
does.
is awesome, man. That's your sales tactic. Everybody's got their own. See, I'm a persuader. It's everybody each person's different. We're all that's why the human what's it called?
The human experience.
Yeah, the human population is so we're one of our own. You know, we're the most dynamic people in the world, or beings in the world. So tell me this. I got 2 questions left for you, that because
Yeah.
this is what we ask every guest on this podcast is, tell me what it was like for you. The podcast name is Burn the Ship. If you don't, do you know where the mantra came from? I'm pretty sure I told you on the phone, but I don't know if you don't remember. I'll explain.
Explain,
So,
please.
Central American conquistador Hernan Cortez landed in modern-day Mexico. Thought he landed in America, landed in Mexico, and he made his men take off all their supplies and disassemble the ships and burn the wood from the ships on the beaches. And he looked at his men and he was like, we're going to make it here, we're going to die trying. And use the same sense in entrepreneurship. So what was it like for you to go all in on your business and burn the ship?
It was difficult. It's very scary to move away from getting a paycheck every couple weeks,
Right.
which I had been doing my whole life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally, I was sick to my stomach doing it. But one of my old boss put me in a bad spot. He promised one of our clients something that he couldn't deliver. I could deliver it, but not under his umbrella. But
Right.
ultimately, I knew it would fall on me, and that's kind of that kind of just put me in like more of, I don't really trust this person, and I don't really want to work with them,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna go my own separate way.
Absolutely.
And at that time, I just happened to be working with another CPA who, you know, was kind of pushing me on this, and I thank him for that.
Right.
But when I ended up telling him some more intricate details about my current situation, he ended up looking at this, rather than working with me, than rather the chance to seize assets and take something from somebody else that I really wasn't that worried about. And
Right.
so essentially, I was kind of I was in knots about doing it, and I'm glad this guy kept pushing me. But at the end of the day, it was kind of somebody not being truthful that just pushed me over the edge.
No, absolutely. Well, we hear all types of them. We've done 800 of these podcasts, and it's always either I worked for somebody and I didn't like their process, so I knew I could do it better, or this company just I never saw it growing. You know, it's a whole Rolodex of answers that we've gotten. Well, been doing this, but that's a very common answer. Is like, look, man, I didn't like how they were doing it. I think I could do it better.
Right.
And
And it's a little more difficult than it sounds. You know, I mean, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll just go out, get these tax returns rolling and call it a day, you know,
mm-hmm.
and then you forget about all these processes that need to be implemented, just all these various things that need to be implemented to make that a successful business. I
Right.
mean, but I'm learning, and it's a great, I love it. I wouldn't change it for anything.
No, which is awesome. And then the last question we ask all of our guests is, Brian, what do you want to do with your time? Say this whole thing's rolling, you got 30 people that work for you, or whatever the ideal number for you is when you're in that ideal situation. What do you want to do with your time? You know, do you want to go ride a bike up and down the 166? Do you want to go hike? Do you want to go hike the mountains in Chile? What is it that you want to do with your time? Because everybody's got something that they want to do that's kind of, if it's the golf course, mine is, you know, I want to be on the beach in the golf course.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too far from that. I'm a big pickleball player.
Okay,
So
okay.
I
We got
play a
some
ton of
pickleballers in
pickleball.
this office right now.
Yeah, yeah. So I do a lot of that. I do a lot of golfing.
Okay,
But pickleball's kind of taken over a lot of that. I do some skiing.
okay.
Um, I mean, but like, you know, one of my colleagues essentially, she's kind of been heavily involved in like the Mayan culture, the Mayan energies, let's say that.
Yeah,
That's something, I mean, and it just really opened my eyes. I kind of realized that us humans really don't know that much. We're on this planet, we're on this earth. We don't even know that much about Earth.
not at all. We don't know anything because we only know what they put on the internet and show us. That's
Exactly.
a story
So
for a different day.
I would like to dive into that a little bit more, um, along with my pickleball, and I'd like to go to the beach. I don't know. I'm landlocked South Dakota guy.
Yeah,
I think I've been to the beach 5 times. Let's say that. I need to
really,
be
man. We're about 5 hours from the beach. We just hop in the car and take off.
right.
Oh yeah,
But no, every time I go there, I'm like, I don't want to leave here.
no man, it's awesome. Other than the humidity in Florida, other than that, it's awesome.
Right. I bet.
That's incredible. So you want to spend your time just gaining knowledge
kind
and
of learning.
yeah, absolutely gaining knowledge and kind of and experiences. I can appreciate that because that's me and one of our coworkers. We were out cold calling yesterday, and that's what we were talking about. I was like, dude, experiences, like it's everything, and because we were sitting there talking BS and going back and forth on worldview, what we think about things, whatever, just
Mm-hmm.
cooling, and he was like. He said, "Well, not everybody thinks about it like that." And I was like, "It's just crazy to me that people would not want experiences." I was like, "That's what we're put on the earth to do: is build relationships and have experiences." And I
Exactly.
mean, it says it in the good
And
book
teach
too.
our
So
kids. Well,
exactly.
I got kids, but
I ain't got them yet. I ain't spat any out yet. So fingers crossed. I'm 20. I'm 26. I don't want to go bankrupt yet.
fair enough. Fair enough. I can
But
appreciate that.
man, that's awesome. And then Brian, tell the people where to find you.
You can find me at tightlinescpa.com or my um, yeah, tightlinescpa.com, or you can give me a call. I don't know if I shoot out my phone number, but
We'll put it. We'll put it on the description if you don't mind.
okay, yeah, I mean that, yeah, definitely hit me up on there. If you come to Castle Rock, Colorado, I'm right on Main Street. You can't miss me. I live right across from where I work, so I'm always in between the two
And
places.
that's awesome. That's awesome. And Brian, I appreciate you very much for coming on and joining us on Burn the Ship today. I'm gonna leave you and give you the last word for the guest or for our
Well,
viewers.
just yeah, I mean, my only advice is just stick with it, keep going. I mean, sometimes you're about ready to give up on this new ship that we're creating here, but just keep going. Just take everything you got to keep it going, but just keep going.
Absolutely. That's awesome, man. Once again, thank you and burn the ship.